I never get applause. What is it? Yeah. Wow. It's just gorgeous. This whole group here is just, it's uplifting. It's beautiful for Shabbat. It's beautiful all the time, but it really is amazing. So this is a special Shabbat. It's called Shabbat Zachor. It's a Shabbat right before Purim. The most fun, the most crazy holiday of the year. And the word Zachor means remember. That's what the name is, remember. Zachor et asher asah lecha Amalek. Remember what Amalek, who's Amalek? Amalek was the one who attacked the Jewish people, the Israelites, as they were fleeing Egypt, and he attacked them from the rear. He attacked, who's in the rear? All of his, the elderly, the women, the children. A very cruel, cruel enemy. And we should remember what he did to us. And then, fast forward, who's Haman related to? He's a descendant of Amalek. So remember, Zachor is a very powerful word. We just did the Kiddush, right? Just chanted the Kiddush. And what do we have there? Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Remembrance to the Exodus from Egypt. Zecher l'maseh v'reshit. Remember creation. So Shabbat is remembering we left Egypt, remembering the creation. Tefillin, the phylacteries, it's a reminder. Talit, the prayer shawl, the tzitzis on the corner, the man tiskaru, same word, zecher, it's a reminder. 10 Commandments, what does it say about Shabbat? Zachor, remember Shabbat. So we're people with a very, very long memory. But then there's something very interesting that happens. 10 Commandments is related not only in Exodus, when Moses reviews the story of his life with his people and his encounter with God, and he takes us through the Exodus from Egypt, and he takes us back to Mount Sinai, and he remembers it, and he recounts it, but he changes, the word changes. It isn't Zachor, it's Shamor. Shamor, protect, guard. It went from remembering to guarding. We sang Lecha Dodi, right? Shamor v'Zachor b'dibur echad. The rabbi said that God said, guard and remember. Remember and guard in the same speech. He said both words at the same time. Why? Because remembering is not enough. Remembering is only the beginning. Remembering has to lead to action. It's not just to remember the Shabbat. We have to do something about Shabbat. Light some candles, drink wine at a Kiddush, sing Shabbat. So you got to do something. Remembering doesn't do the trick. Look at the Megillah that we're going to read this week, the story of Purim. The announcement is made that the Jews are going to be killed on the 14th of Adar. Haman succeeds in getting the king to issue the edict. And what does Mordechai do? And Mordechai knows exactly who Haman is. He knows that he's a descendant of Amalek. He knows it. He knows he's an ancient enemy. What does Mordechai do? He falls to the ground. He puts on sackcloth and ashes. When do you wear sackcloth and ashes? After someone's dead. It's mourning. He goes into mourning. Why? Because he remembered who Amalek was, but he had no idea what to do about it. Nothing. An edict for all the Jews of Persia to be killed, and he goes into mourning. He didn't remember what to do. Esther calls him in, said, bring him in. What's wrong? If he's in mourning, maybe I lost a relative. After all, I'm related to him. We're cousins. And he tells her, what has happened. And then he starts to wake up, right? He realizes, Esther, the king, I got an ace. Maybe. And he tells her you have to do something. And what's her first reaction? I can't. I'm not allowed to see the king. I could be killed if I approach the king without being killed. She makes excuses. He stops her and says, remember who you are. She'd forgotten who she was. Right? She was so good. Remember, she had to hide that she was Jewish? Boy, was she good at it. She was so good that when her cousin had to remind her in this emergency, you're Jewish, at first she backed off, but then she remembered. But that wasn't enough. If she remembered and did what her cousin Mordechai did, that would be the end. What did she do? Shamor. She started to go into the protect mode. She went into the action mode. And she devised a sophisticated, intelligent plan how to get the king to understand that, in fact, Haman was the enemy, not Mordechai, not Esther, not the Jewish people. And she succeeds, obviously. This book of Esther has a very basic teaching. It's the difference between good and evil. It distinguishes between good and evil. Exactly what God gave us a choice. Choose good or choose evil. It's our choice. And the book is trying to educate people to know the difference between good and evil, to remember and then to do. That's what the book is about. You need to be prepared to do, to act, not just to remember. And what does she say when the king says, who wants to do this to the Jewish people, to you? She says, Haman hara hazeh, that evil Haman. She identifies the evil, and the king acknowledges it, and then she tells him what to do. Tulu'u ala eitz, hang him on those gallows he built for Mordechai, your friend, the friend of the king. Take action, king. Just don't remember. Take action. Remove the evil from your midst. So the book is about acknowledging the evil, recognizing the evil, remembering, and then acting. On October 6th, Israel knew how evil Hamas was. We all knew it. We all remembered what they were capable of. They had killed innocents before. We could recount, sadly, dozens of terror attacks. 1,000 Israeli civilians were killed in the Intifada, blown up on buses, in restaurants, at seders. They had cut the throats of babies before. This wasn't new. We can recount those stories. The bus of children, a school bus, once they took as hostages, and not all of them survived. They blew up teenagers at a club before. We remembered. We knew it on October 6th, but we didn't shamor. We didn't guard. We weren't ready to take action. And the disaster occurred. We didn't protect. The actions necessary to prevent October 7th were not taken. October 8th, we went from remembering, Zachor, to Shamor, to protecting and acting, identifying exactly who the evil was, where the evil was, and that the only possible end to the fight was that evil, like Haman, was eradicated completely. We're now in an October 8th mode. We're in that mode as American Jews fighting anti-Semitism. We're in that mode in Israel. the mode of Zachor v'Shamor. Remember and protect and do and observe and be ready and take action. Many of us have these different little pendants that we wear. This one says, bring them home now, referring to the hostages. Bring them home now. That's action. That's do it. Whatever it takes, whatever is necessary, it is and will be done. And the other one, if you were able to get to the Nova exhibition, remember what it says? We will dance again. We will dance again. If we understand and learn that lesson, that ancient lesson of Zachor, remember, Vishamor, observe, protect, and do, then indeed we will dance again. Shabbat Shalom.